The studio lights flared as Stephen Colbert's signature grin welcomed Elon Musk to the set. The crowd buzzing with anticipation, but within minutes the air turned venomous. A clash so raw, it ended with Musk storming off, leaving Colbert stunned. On live TV. Tonight's episode, aired March 22, 2025, was meant to be a playful joust between the late-night host and the tech titan, a chance to unpack Musk's latest headline-grabbing crusade, but instead, it spiraled into a confrontation that peeled back layers of pride and power. What sparked this meltdown? Was it Colbert's sharp tongue, or had Musk walked in with a fuse already lit, ready to explode? The trouble ignited when Colbert leaned into his opening, his posture loose, his eyes glinting with mischief. He brought up Musk's recent push for total AI deregulation, a move dominating 2025 headlines after Tesla unveiled an autonomous fleet that sparked protests over safety fears. Colbert framed it with his trademark wit, painting Musk as a reckless visionary, gambling with lives. His tone light but barbed, probing for a reaction. The audience chuckled, feeding off the jab. But Musk sat rigid, his fingers tapping the armrest, his face tightening into a mask of controlled irritation. Had Colbert misread the room? Did he think Musk would just laugh off a controversy tearing through the media? Musk shifted, his jaw clenching as Colbert piled on, weaving the AI debate into a broader swipe at Musk's obsession with control, his companies, his relentless drive to reshape the world. The host's confidence grew, his gestures sharp, his humor cutting deeper, and the crowd lapped it up, their laughter a chorus that seemed to echo off Musk's silence. But beneath it, a storm brewed, his eyes narrowing, his stillness a warning Colbert didn't heed. Why didn't he see the tension? Coiling? Was he too caught up in the applause to notice the guest poised to strike? The audience leaned in, their amusement shifting to unease as Musk's restraint frayed, his gaze locking onto Colbert's with an intensity that promised retaliation. Then the spark hit the powder keg. Colbert pushed too far, veering into a personal dig, questioning Musk's motives, hinting at arrogance driving his AI agenda over public good, his voice thick with accusation. Musk's head snapped up, his eyes blazing, and the room stilled. The laughter dying as he leaned forward, his presence swelling, ready to unleash something that would flip the night upside down. What had Colbert unleashed? Could he weather the backlash he'd just provoked? Or was this the moment his stage became Musk's battlefield? The studio hummed with a restless edge as Elon Musk's gaze sharpened, his fingers stilling on the armrest, his silence morphing into a coiled threat that Stephen Colbert failed to clock, too caught in his own rhythm. The host's latest jab, a personal swipe at Musk's AI motives, lingered like a dare, and Musk rose to it, his body tilting forward, his presence swelling as he unleashed a counterstrike that flipped the room's dynamic. He tore into Colbert, his voice a low growl, building to a roar, framing the host as a smug gatekeeper, a man who mocked what he couldn't grasp, blind to the stakes of a future he'd never touch. The audience shifted, some murmuring, others frozen, caught in the sudden reversal as Musk's words carved through the set. Colbert recoiled slightly, his grin faltering, but he rallied, leaning forward, his fingers gripping the desk as he fired back, defending his stance with a mix of humor and bite. He doubled down on the AI controversy, framing Musk's deregulation push as a reckless gamble, a billionaire's whim that ignored the chaos of Tesla's self-driving crashes, dominating headlines, real fears trending across 2025's media. The crowd rallied briefly, their applause a lifeline, but Musk didn't blink. His confidence a wall, and he waved it off, his gesture broad, dismissive, as he accused Colbert of pandering to fear, of siding with bureaucrats over progress. The exchange sharpened, their words colliding, a duel of intellect and ego. The tension spiked when Colbert, fueled by the crowd's energy, pressed harder, his tone edging into disdain as he questioned Musk's humanity, suggesting his AI obsession stemmed from a cold, detached view of people as data points. The studio hushed, the line crossed, and Musk's face darkened, his body coiling, his response immediate, visceral. He slammed back, his voice dripping with contempt, calling Colbert a hypocrite who'd never risked anything, a late-night clown, coasting on cheap outrage while real builders bled for change. The insult was rude, raw, and it landed hard, Colbert's hands twitching, his composure cracking as the guest's words echoed, daring him to hit back. The confrontation grew hotter, each man digging deeper, their voices overlapping in a storm of blame and defiance. Colbert tried to claw back, his sarcasm sharpening as he mocked Musk's need for control. But Musk turned it, his eyes glinting, accusing the host of jealousy, of resenting a man who dared to break molds while he clung to a script. The crowd split, their noise a chaotic pulse, and Colbert's jaw tightened, his control fraying as Musk stood firm, his dominance growing, a guest rewriting the rules of the game. The studio lights dimmed slightly, as Elon Musk's harsh insult, a rude jab calling Stephen Colbert a talentless fool, bounced around the room, leaving the host rattled, his hands shaky on the desk. Musk seemed to grow bigger, his stance wide, his smirk cutting deeper as he watched Colbert struggle to respond. The audience went quiet, unsure who to back, some liking Musk's boldness, others feeling bad for the host's collapse. Colbert's eyes flicked around, hunting for a way to fight back. Then he stood taller, his voice loud, trying hard to take charge again. He lunged back into the fray, his tone sharp, accusing Musk of dodging the real issue, his AI crusade a smokescreen for unchecked power, a trending debate fueled by Tesla's latest crash data plastered across news feeds. He gestured wildly, his sarcasm biting as he painted Musk as a tyrant playing God, a man whose vision endangered lives for profit. The audience stirred, a few clapping, but the momentum felt hollow, their noise thinner as Musk absorbed the hits, his grin unwavering, his silence a taunt that unnerved Colbert further. The host pressed on, his frustration boiling, his words overlapping in a rush to bury the insult still stinging his pride. Musk seized the chaos, standing now, his frame dominating the set as he countered with a force that sucked the air from the room. He turned Colbert's attack inside out, framing his own risks, sleepless nights, and billions sunk into a future the host couldn't fathom, a brutal contrast to Colbert's cushy gig. His voice grew louder, his hands slashing, and he landed, a vicious blow accusing Colbert of ignorance, of parroting talking points while real innovators bore the scars. The crowd gasped, the jab rude and personal, and Colbert's face flushed, his retort faltering, his hands slamming the desk in a burst of rage that only deepened his vulnerability. The standoff teetered on collapse as Colbert, cornered, lashed out, his voice cracking as he brought up Musk's personal life. A low swipe at his family's silence amid the AI backlash, a desperate grasp at leverage. Musk's eyes flared, his body tensing, and he stepped closer, his presence a storm cloud, his response a thunderclap that shook the set. He unleashed a tirade, his contempt searing as he labeled Colbert a coward hiding behind a script, a nobody who'd crumble under real pressure, a final, humiliating cut that left the host speechless, the stage his no longer, the crowd's stunned silence a testament to Musk's triumph. The studio trembled under the force of Elon Musk's final searing attack, his brutal label of Stephen Colbert as a coward echoing, leaving the host frozen, his mouth open but silent, his defeat laid bare. Musk towered over the set, his eyes blazing, his victory a palpable weight that crushed the air from the room. The crowd sat stunned, their hands still, their whispers swallowed by the spectacle of a guest dismantling a host live on air. Colbert sank back into his chair, his shoulders slumping, his face a mix of rage and shame, the desk no longer a shield but a cage trapping him in Musk's shadow. Musk didn't sit, didn't soften, his voice rising again as he turned to the audience, his arms wide, claiming the moment as proof of his resilience. A man who'd faced Colbert's cheap shots and emerged unscathed. He spun the AI debate into a badge of honor, his risks a testament to courage the host could never muster, a narrative that flipped the night's chaos into his triumph. The crowd stirred, some clapping, drawn to his unyielding strength, others staring, loyal to Colbert but powerless to lift him. The crew scrambled backstage, the director's voice sharp in their ears, but the cameras rolled on, capturing every second of the unraveling. Colbert tried to muster a response, his voice weak, almost pleading as he accused Musk of twisting the truth, a last-ditch effort to claw back dignity. It fell flat, drowned by Musk's laugh, a deep cutting sound that buried the host deeper, and he leaned in, his final words a rude, mocking farewell, thanking Colbert for proving his point, a nobody exposed before millions. He turned, his stride, deliberate, and stormed off the set, his exit a thunderclap, leaving Colbert alone, the stage empty save for the wreckage of his authority. The band played feebly, a hollow attempt at normalcy, as Colbert forced a wave, his eyes vacant, the applause sparse, mechanical. Backstage, the silence was deafening, the crew avoiding Colbert's gaze, their heads down as the fallout hit. Phones, already buzzing with clips of Musk's dominance, racing across the internet. The host retreated to his office, the door slamming, while Musk outside faced a swarm of cameras, his grin wide, spinning the night into a legend of his own making, a talk show conquered, a host humbled. The studio dimmed, the audience filed. Out and the story settled, a triumph sealed in Musk's departure, a stark lesson in power etched into Colbert's stunned silence, a night that ended not in debate, but in domination.